So, translation, my dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They truly are your transcendental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees. Please kindly respond and repeat. My dear Lord,
My dear Lord,
although you have no material forms,
although you have no material form,
you have your own innumerable forms.
you have your own innumerable forms.
They truly are your transcendental forms,
They truly are your transcendental forms,
which are pleasing to your devotees.
which are pleasing to your devotees.
Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord is one absolute, but he has ananta or innumerable forms. Advaitam Achyutam, Anandim Anantarupam. The Lord is the original form, but still he has multiforms. Those multiforms are manifested by him transcendentally, according to the tastes of his multi-devotees. It is understood that once Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ramachandra, said that he knew that Narayan, the husband of Lakshmi, and Rama, the husband of Sita, are one and the same, and that there is no difference between Lakshmi and Sita. But as for himself, he liked the form of Lord Ram. In a similar way, some devotees worship the original form of Krishna. When we say Krishna, we refer to all forms of the Lord, not only Krishna, but Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Narayan, etc. The varieties of transcendental forms exist simultaneously. That is also stated in Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Muttishu Nanavataram. He already exists in multi-forms, but none of the forms are material. Sridhar Swami has commented that arupinaha, without form, means without material form. The Lord has form, otherwise, how can it be stated here, Tani eva te rupani, rupani bhagavan stava. You have your own, you have your forms. But they are not material. Materially, you have no form, but spiritually, transcendentally, you have multi-forms. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand these transcendental forms of the Lord, and being disappointed, they say that the Supreme Lord is impersonal. But that is not a fact. Whenever there is a form, there is a person. Many times, in many Vedic literatures, the Lord is described as Purusa, which means the original form, the original enjoyer. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material form, and yet, according to the liking of the different grades of devotees, he simultaneously exists in multi-forms such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Narayan, and Mukunda. There are many thousands and thousands of forms, but they are all Vishnu Tattva, Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Salakaya Saksur Militam Yen Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Suchaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vancha Kalpataribhyacha Kripasunabhyayavacha Patitavam Padanabhyavacha Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodata Gurudaya Paspavanto Chita Chandata Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinam Namaste Sadhas for today. Gauravani Pacharine Nirvise Satsunya Bhadi Pasatya Satali. So, Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So welcome to this morning, this segment of the morning program, which is Bhagavatam class. So, in this text, forms of the Lord have been discussed. Some Prabhupada makes the reference to the fact that the Mayavadis don't accept the form of the Lord. In fact, majority of Mayavadis, they like to dance around the form. They like to circumvent the form of the Lord. They don't want to recognize the form of the Lord. Rather, they say we are formless because the Lord is formless. And ultimately, we'll be formless. And ultimately, we merge into that Brahman. But even the greatest authority of the Vedas, Lord Brahma himself, he says these Mayavadis are simply, they are wishful thinkers. Wishful thinkers. In the words of Lord Brahma, he said, Yenye Ravidaksha Vimukta Mananas Fawasa Bhava, I will sue the Buddha, impure intelligence. This is the pivot of this type of conception. That you have a form, and the Supreme does not have a form. Impure intelligence. This is the situation with the Mayavadis. Mayavadis, they're very erudite. They have a lot of erudition. You can't argue with Mayavadis and win them. That is why our Acharyas, even Lord Chaitanya said, we should avoid Mayavadis. And Prabhupada constantly hammered Mayavadis in his purports. They're top scholars. I remember one brahmachari in Mayapur. He's late now. But the time I met him, he was in his 80s. Really hefty guy. He told me a story how he met Prabhupada. He was a Mayavadist seance. So he met Prabhupada and he challenged Prabhupada for argument. Challenged Prabhupada into an argument. And he said Prabhupada defeated him woefully, completely, downtrodden. In those days, if you go to challenge somebody and they defeat you, we find this also in the life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. People he defeated in Benares or any of the places he went and he defeated people, they become his disciples. So this brahmachari told me how he was a Mayavadi Swami, and then Prabhupada defeated him, so then he joined ISKCON. People are humble enough to accept their fault. People are humble enough to surrender. These days, if even we don't know anything, to surrender is a problem. We like to argue back and forth. So the Lord has multifarious forms. Multifarious forms means many forms and different in functionality. In essence, Prabhupada says, the same form, Krishna. But the commissions are different. The mission is the same. The mission of all the multifarious forms of the Lord, they are the same. But their commissions are different. And so we find Lord Krishna comes as Lila Purushottama to enjoy Leelas with his devotees. But Lord Rama comes as Married Purushottama He came to set the rules for governance, for leadership. And Lord Chaitanya comes to set the pace, to teach us Madhurya. And so each time the Lord comes, there is a specific business. But then in all of his manifestations, is to create a spiritual transformation. That's the mission of the Lord. But then, how to go about this, the commissions are different. Lord Chaitanya comes and then he breaks the storehouse of love of Godhead, so that anyone could really go in and take. But even that, people were reluctant. Yeah. Something free, people also, when you give something free to people, there's a tendency to doubt. If you charge them plenty of money, yeah, it must be authentic. So Lord Chaitanya came to give love of God free of charge. But even in Bengal, it never did there. At that time, it was so tough. And therefore, we have to understand, the Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, who had appeared in the form of an integration of Radha and Krishna. So, again, I was mentioning that day how it's so easy for anybody to claim the Lord, that this Lord, the Supreme Lord, is smarter than anybody else. Lord Chaitanya came, and he appeared in a golden form. So the Bengalis will not say, well, this is our Lord, this is our God. Bengalis are not golden. Lord Chaitanya came in Maharashtra, they are in Vrindavan. Maharashtrians don't have bluish black body. He appeared in a bluish black form, so that the Maharashtrians would not claim, he's our God. Why not? He's God of everybody, God of everyone. And so, the simple understanding is that these forms we have, these different forms we have, are simply a reflection of the fact that the Lord has form. So that debunks the whole idea, the simple logic that debunks the idea of the Mayavadis. I mean, it's like, people are arguing back and forth about Ritukism, but you see, even you don't need to talk about Ritukism to even a management scientist, not devotee. A management scientist, he will debunk your Ritukism, because if you go to any university, you go to the faculty of management, the person who founded that faculty, his name is on a placard on the wall of the reception of the dean's office, or the dean's reception. And when he dies, his mission statements is also written on the wall. His vision and his goals for founding that faculty of management, they are all written. Similarly, Prabhupada also established this same principle. He has a mission statement. You go and read the Planting the Seed, Saswarup Maharaj's primary work on the biography of Prabhupada. This is there. So when people get confused about even simple logical things that should not even require scripture or quotation, simple logic, it just shows how people are so dull-witted in Kali Yuga. Logic is not, people can't reason. So the Mayavadis also, they can't reason, because simple logic tells you that this light, this electric bulb that glows, is because of power, electrical power. And it comes through cables, insulated cables. Without insulation, it could cause some shock waves and kill people. This same energy. So it's insulated. Then it comes, people use it for different purposes. For somebody to think that this light, energy, does not come from an energetic source, this is the apex of dumbness. Oh yeah, because even a little child, a grade 5 child knows that this bulb, the electricity is coming from the powerhouse. So how can we say energy is devoid of energetic source? Therefore, the whole idea of the Mayavadis becomes futile. And therefore, Lord Brahma says, yes, they claim that they are liberated by merging into the Brahman effulgence, but this is due to their impure intelligence. And Lord Brahma went on to say, they will fall back again to the material world. So, our Mayavadis have no footing in terms of the argument that God is formless. And we have our scriptures, it's all giving detailed information that the supreme absolute truth is not devoid of personality. Rather, it has multi-forms, like Prabhupada, using the words of Prabhupada in the purport. He has multifarious forms, many and different forms. That makes him a befitting God. Otherwise, we have forms, and God does not have a form. It means that we are superior to God. Is that? I mean, it's like, a child says, my grandfather does not have a form. And so, we should read the scriptures. They are meant for us to clarify our ambiguities, because this is the age of ambiguities. Our consciousness is so much clouded with ambiguities. But the scriptures are there. The Bhagavatam is there to clarify our doubts. The Bhagavad Gita is there to clarify our doubts. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is there to clarify our doubts. In fact, when we join, 1 hour in the morning, everybody sits down to read. That was the system in our temple. 1 hour, you must read. You live in the temple for what? To cultivate sadhana, knowledge, to practice. So reading was an imperative factor. And so people who are participating in the Krishna consciousness movement, yes, there's a lot of spiritual knowledge, but if we don't read proper books, how are we going to understand things? How are we going to be convinced? How are we going to use our conviction in trying to convince someone who is in a state of doubt? And so, the Lord has many forms. Prabhupada makes reference to the Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma is the highest authority in this universe. If Lord Brahma recognizes that the Lord has many forms, who are we? Who are the Mayavadis? Their great-grandfather said the Lord has many forms, and you say, no, the Lord has no form. So, it's a simple fact, delineated in the scriptures, and we simply have to repeat what is there. Of course, not as a paratologist. Paras also, they repeat the scriptures like anything, but they don't have any realizations. They can repeat the scriptures perhaps better than the person who is teaching them. Paras, they have very sweet voices, isn't it? Anyway, any comments or questions? Yes, please.
You said that Mahabali have impure intelligence.
Not me, Lord Brahma said.
So, what does it mean, this impure intelligence? fully true, or the logic, or
Impure intelligence implies that information they have is illogical, twisted. It's not authoritative. Yeah. You say something, if you go to the law court and just say something to the judge, she will not accept what you say except you provide a reference. Or you provide somebody who has said something who is higher than you, who is an authority. Lord Brahma is the supreme authority in this universe. And he says the Lord has forms in his own Brahma Samhita. And so he's condemning this very conception of, he is demystifying the personalism of this absolute. So he said, yeah, this is my authority, I'm the authority. I said this, the Lord has forms, I've seen him, I've realized him. You say he has no form. Impure. You crack. Any other comment or questions? Yes.
I'm not sure if I would articulate my question properly, but you catch something from this. You mentioned that if we don't read Prabhupada's books, how can we understand absolute truth and anything of area of spirituality? This is sometimes always a question. Even amongst devotees, now who is a devotee, ISKCON devotee or some other devotee, whatever. But at least for those who accept Srila Prabhupada, it seems that we are either in one extreme, that we don't read books like at all, or very rarely, very occasionally. Like here in temple, we read at least every day in Bhagavatam class. Or other extreme is that they read a lot, but they read the books that is above their qualifications, like some Rasika books, Prema Bhakti Chandrika, or this and that Rasika books. So, and it seems by what they are saying, how they behaving, how they live their lives, it seems that they don't even catch, they didn't even understood basics of spiritual life. That is very obvious from Srila Prabhupada's books. So, I don't know. What is, on one side, what is this line that we can say, okay, now we can read some other books besides Srila Prabhupada's? Or another thing is, how can we, for ourselves, understand that we don't read enough Srila Prabhupada's books, or we don't read at all, that we really need to read Srila Prabhupada's books?
Now, this is not my making. Prabhupada had emphasized repeatedly that his devotees should distribute his books, but for you to distribute the books, the enthusiasm will come to distribute the books if you know the content of the literature. And he emphasized that, in fact, Prabhupada arranged this, he initiated this whole Bhakti Sastra program just to encourage devotees to read the books, study the books, not just to read the books, but to study the books systematically. So, and the point is that this is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's an ashram. It's not another Hindu mandir. It's an ashram. Ashram is where knowledge is cultivated. Cultivation of knowledge means you understand the theory and you are also implementing the theoretical frameworks and the conceptual frameworks. You understand the theoretical, you understand the theory, the theoretical frameworks, and the conceptual frameworks. And you're implementing that. That is the essence of an ashram. So, International Society for Krishna Consciousness is an ashram. It's not a place where people just come together to clap their hands and go back to their homes after Sunday program. It should be a place where we cultivate knowledge. And cultivation of knowledge means implementation of the models, the models in the Bhagavad Gita, the conceptual frameworks of Lord Krishna in the Gita, in the Bhagavatam. But then we can have realizations. If the fact that Krishna says, Mama evam sujiva loki jiva bhuta sanatana, everyone is my part and parcels, and we don't treat people like our loved ones, it shows we're not implementing that very statement of the Bhagavad Gita. We may read so much Rasika books, but the point, the very beginning, the very essence of ashram life is character development. You have character. If you don't have character, what's the question of living in the ashram? The very essence of spiritual transformation is character development. You have respect for people. It's not because, I put on a saffron cloth and I'm better than everybody else. It's not because I'm a Swami, so I'm better than everybody else. It's not because I'm a guru, so I'm better than everybody else. It's not because I have a PhD, so I'm better than everybody else. It's bullshit. Let's be clear. Krishna is not looking at our qualifications. He's not looking at our dress. He's looking at our hearts. He is Bhavagrahi, Janandana. So we can play games with Krishna. So yes, Prabhupada said we should read the books. So the question is, are we reading the books? If even we are reading only one paragraph every day, we should try to implement what we read. And then we will attract people of that caliber to join in our temples, to stay with us. And sometimes people think, why are we not having many devotees in our temples? You go to some places like, in India and Russia, there are thousands and thousands of devotees. You mean they are not on this planet? They are on this planet. In Chopati, they have thousands of people who are professionals. In Chopati, if you don't have a first degree, you cannot stay in that temple as a brahmachari. In Pune, if you don't have a first degree, you cannot stay in that temple as a brahmachari. I used to stay in one small temple in Calcutta when I go to Calcutta. The temple president is a scientist. He has a PhD. His wife is an ophthalmologist, eye surgeon. The vice president is a scientist. He has a PhD. The chief pujari is a scientist. He has a PhD. The chief cook is a pujari. Has a PhD. The chief cook. They have 4 PhDs in that small temple. One of them has a PhD in mathematics. This is India. You go to India, sometimes you go into the small temples and see what is going on so that you know how to preach in your temples. What is going on in India? Most temples outside of India don't even know what is happening in India. This is their level. Right now. Yeah. So Prabhupada wants us to read his books and expand his mission, his preaching mission. So how much we read is all depending on an individual. And for us to convince people that we are reading, we should have transformed character. And what the simple way to, compute that is to see how we're treating each other. We're treating people around us, people who come to our temples, people even amongst us who are living in the temple. Do we treat each other as our beloved? Because Lord Krishna said, Mama evam sojiva loki. Everyone is my part and parcel. Are we treating each other? Okay, in your temple here, are you treating each other as your beloved siblings? I was in Canada. I was in Montreal one time. And so there was this boy who was leading a Sankirtan party, distributing books and Harinam. So we met in Montreal. The Sankirtan party came to Montreal. And then before they were to leave, he came to ask me, Maharaj, what shall I do to motivate all these young brahmacharis who are traveling with me, distributing Prabhupada's books, distributing the holy names? I said, oh, I have a simple answer for you. He said, tell me. I said, treat all of these devotees like the way you treat your beloved younger brother. He looked at me right in the face and he said, Maharaj, this is so difficult. I said, but you preach it. Mama evam so jiva loka, jiva bhuta sanatana. You preach it, isn't it? You preach it. To implement it now is a problem. We have simple ABC, kindergarten philosophy we need to implement and transform our lives, transform our communities, and transform this world. But we need to read proper books. It doesn't matter whether we read one page, one chapter, 2 chapters, one book. The reflection should be that our character development is being contagious. We are attracting people, genuine people to our movement. There are people who just like to expand their information, spiritual information base. But like you mentioned, if they don't read, they don't understand the fundamental principle and then they jump. And Prabhupada never allowed people to even study or to read the rasa philosophy. He didn't encourage that. Because people in general, they will misunderstand and they will commit offenses. So then there are books to read, we should encourage. In fact, the systematic reading, in the Bhakti Sastri, we have these books. Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion. They didn't recommend Rasika books. So we should get that foundational knowledge. And then when we want to go into this higher stuff, we will not be contaminated, we will not be confused. Yeah. Any other last question? All right. Thank you very much for coming to participate in this Bhagavatam class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Maharaj ki jai.